Hi, I'm Joel Grimes. I'm a commercial advertising photographer. I'm going to show you how I create images using Intuos4 and Adobe Photoshop CS5. We've got one of my images here that I've shot of Karan Clemens, a Olympic silver medalist, track and field. And what I try to do with my images is really create a drama. Here we have Karan with the final image. And you can see he's exploding out of the blocks here. We've got some shadowing around him. We've got the sort of drama in the sky and the cracks in the concrete. What I want to show you now is the original image of the background. As it was captured in one capture, it would be more or less considered the normal exposure. And you can see here that it's really kind of a flat image. I'm going to take the 5 exposures that I bracketed with this background and bring it into Photomatix and create those images all into one image. And I just move my sliders around a little bit. I really worked strength. I'll make sure my white point is up but not too far because I don't want to blow out the highlights. And the one thing that I want to do is I bring my images over probably what would be considered about a stop overexposed, because when I run it through my Photoshop, I add some drama to it in there, so I need to have an image that's sort of lighter than normal. So here we have the image that has been processed and is tone bit mapped. This is probably a little bit more HDR than I normally do with a background, but you can see that in the final it really does add a lot of drama to the scene. I'm going to show you the image of Karan. This is the raw image of him right out of the camera. And here he is on the side of a stadium at UCLA. It seems like it's kind of an underexposed image. The key to my lighting is that I throw edge lights on my subject. So I really have 2 lights that are what we'd probably call, coming at sort of a 45-degree angle onto my subject, and then I have 1 overhead light. The biggest mistake that most photographers make when they do and try to do what I call the 3-edge light approach is they overexpose the overhead light, and that kind of kills the drama. The nice thing about a 3-edge light is you can pretty much put somebody in any background. I want to build sort of my drama in Photoshop by creating 2 images, a color image, the original color, and I convert one of those to a black and white. But before I do that, I kind of overexpose it, because when you overlay an image, you actually kind of double the density. So what I want to do is create a smart object that allows me to come back to that image over and over again. So let's create a duplicate of that image in a smart object so that I can go back and forth to that. I'm going to create or change one of those, the top one, to black and white. So I do that by going back and double clicking on the little icon that shows that it's a smart object. And I go to grayscale and I click on convert to grayscale. And I get to move those sliders around now, which will change the tones of any color. And I primarily change the red and orange. Darken it up a little bit, give a little move. I can go back to the original sliders, maybe give a little bit darker exposure here to give it some more mood. And then we're gonna hit OK. So now, take a look at it, and I have to do my blending to overlay. There it is. The one thing I can do with the tablet is I can merge a layer by just having one click. So what I want to do is I'm going to show you the knockout process that I use in CS5. By having the dial here, I can scroll through, and I have set up the auto scroll zoom, which I love to zoom in on the images very quickly. I have the brush size, which I need to constantly be changing. One of the other things that I love to do too is change the hardness and the softness of the brush. That's all by one little click. And I can change that with just scrolling the size or the softness and the hardness of that brush. So this little wheel allows me to go and just kind of click through, zoom in and out very quickly. And the first thing, I kind of back off a little bit and I just begin to select the subject. And this being in the background is going to be a little harder than on white. But I just kind of scroll through and pick up the basics. Now you can see I'm picking some background up here too. But I'm just going to pick up the basics before I get to moving in too close. So now I go back and I can kind of fine tune. So let's take and adjust my brush size down, and then I just start to paint in my selection. So now that I've made my selection, I want to get over to my mask. And so one of the beautiful things about the Intuos4 is that I have an express key that launches a radial menu that allows me to have preset some options here that I can pick up on the fly. For example, I've set up Windows, and in Windows I have layers, actions, mask, history, character, channels, things like that. So I want to hit mask, and I just click on mask, and there I'm ready. My palette's already set up for me to set up a quick mask, and now I have it ready to drop into my background. And this is another thing that I love to do with this sort of two-stage approach, shooting the subject and then dropping it in the background, is I can position that person kind of exactly where I want. And having that option later is kind of a beautiful thing. One of the things that I do is try to create an image to look like it really is believable in that environment. To do that, I have to do a lot of shading and shadowing. It's almost impossible to do that without a tablet and a pen, because I am painting really the shadows in, and I really need it sort of to flow, and the pen allows me to do that with just very fluid motions. And so I do that by creating a blank layer. Now that allows me to take and paint in right in these areas, like right in on these legs here. So I'll do this to where it starts to feel believable. The wonderful thing about Photoshop that allows you to create non-destructive adjustments, I can pick and do levels, I can do photo filters, and I really use hue and saturation. Those are the three that I use constantly. So by doing that, I can now take and warm up the background. I hope you guys have enjoyed learning the way I create drama. You can learn more about what I do on joelgrindsworkshops.com.